As someone who wears dentures, I have to tell you, one of the big challenges continues to be learning how to eat, what to eat, how to eat in public, what to avoid. So I've been trying different foods. I'm having a McDonald's McRib sandwich. So if you're not familiar with that, let me show you. It is supposed to be like a barbecue ribs. It's a pretty chewy bun, this formed patty made from meat bits, and there are onions and pickles. I haven't had one of these in years, so I thought I would give it a try. I'm also having McDonald's French fries, and an iced tea, and I'll tell you a little bit more about this in a minute. So you may have seen some of my other videos where I talked about how much I hated my immediate dentures. When I got my permanents, I asked the dentist to give me more lip support. The dentist intentionally gave me an overbite. Let me show you. So with my front teeth, the top sticks out past the bottom. I like it for the extra lip support. It makes it a little challenging to bite, and I knew that would happen, but I had had so much trouble with my natural teeth that I couldn't bite anything with my natural teeth for years. So this is an improvement. So let's talk about eating with dentures. Something people advise you if you're learning how to eat with dentures is to eat on both sides. If you can load your food up on both sides, that would make it easy. So as I'm biting, I'm trying to keep the food distributed to both sides of my mouth. The idea is that if you apply pressure to one side, you can pop up the other side. So it does help to keep your dentures in place, but it takes some practice unless you're actually loading both sides of your mouth. So it works. But of course you have to be able to move the food to both sides. Now, when I first got my permanents, I stopped at McDonald's because I like McDonald's. I got a Big Mac and fries, and a challenge I had eating fries was that they went up above the teeth, and when I moved my tongue to try to get those fries back to where I could chew them, my denture tried to pop loose. So I've had enough practice that I don't feel like I'm like packing my cheeks like a chipmunk. And let's see how biting goes, because that's the real challenge for me. With dentures, one recommendation is to bite up. Put the food kind of against your top teeth, so you bring your bottom teeth up. Let's see how messy this is. So you're actually cutting from the bottom. In my case, because I have that intentional overbite, it does work better, but let's see how this works. So I did get a pretty good looking bite, but you could see I struggled a little bit with tearing the bread, which I can live with, to eat something like this in public. The bread is wanting to stick to my dentures a little. That's a problem with soft bread. Right there. So, if you're going to be eating a sandwich in public, like maybe if you take your lunch to work, something you can try is to toast the bread a little, because it's the softer breads that tend to stick more to the dentures. So, let me tell you what I did wrong with that bite. I took too much. You could see trying to hold my lips closed while working with dentures got a little challenging there for a moment. Smaller bites do work better for chewing. Now this is one saucy mess. You can see I licked sauce off my fingers. A year ago I could not do that without knocking my dentures loose. They're still solidly anchored, so I feel like I'm making progress. But all of this barbecue sauce makes me want to take a drink of my beverage. Of my tasty beverage. So I have iced tea. I didn't get a soda. I didn't get something hot like coffee for a reason. Cold beverages help with keeping the adhesive in place. A hot beverage like coffee or hot tea can loosen the adhesive a little. It warms it up, almost like melting, gets it kind of softer, and your dentures can pop loose. The other thing is fizzy drinks. So I'm going for the iced tea instead of a soda. The issue with these drinks is that the carbonation, the fizziness, those little bubbles popping, can dislodge your dentures. They can loosen your dentures. They can soften up the adhesive. For somebody who has trouble removing their dentures, I recommend swish with something fizzy. If you remove your dentures and have adhesive left on your gums, swish your mouth with something fizzy. So I try to avoid the fizzy drinks and the hot drinks when I'm eating. But I do like to have a beverage because it can help keep those food particles washing down. So getting back to our tasty McRib, I'm about to have a bite of pickle. Let's see if my dentures can bite the pickle without just pulling it out. And you can see it's right there, a little dill pickle. So let's see. No, when I took the bite, it just pulled the whole pick off. I couldn't like shear it off with my teeth. Well, sandwich is still working for me. I hadn't had one of these in probably 10 years or more. I have to say it's actually kind of tasty. I consider myself a person of simple tastes. So we've got the bread. It has like the little cornmeal topping. Onions, pickles, lots and lots of barbecue sauce. But I feel like my dentures are doing a pretty good job with it. I keep getting overconfident and taking big bites. Even a year into my denture journey, I need to remind myself, smaller bites work better. The dentures are still in place. I can feel the bottom ones kind of wanting to maybe loosen a touch. As you learn to eat with dentures, you'll also learn how to kind of hold your mouth and hold your tongue. There are certain movements that are more prone to loosening the denture. Puckering. I don't want to pop them loose. Sticking out your tongue on the bottom too far. That makes them kind of want to loosen a little because it moves the soft tissue. But with practice, you'll get better at it, and you'll get to where you're not focusing so much on it. I can lick sauce off my fingers. That's something I had to learn again. And can take bites. That one was a pretty clean bite. I'm going to work this saucy part off. The pickles, I'm just pulling them out. I am putting the food on both sides. So, and now I'm using my tongue to clean that loose food on the sides up. Bring it up so I can swallow it. And I have my cold beverage to help. And it took some practice to get used to automatically eating on both sides of my mouth. I had issues with my teeth for years before I got dentures. So I kind of got in the habit of chewing on one side, and then I'd have issues there and I'd chew on the other side. So I had to make a conscious effort when I first started learning to eat with my dentures. And now it comes a little more naturally, and it will for you too. I'm not able to just snip the pickle though, probably because of the overbite. I don't have as clean a bite as you will if your dentures meet better in the front. But it gave me back my top lip, so I'm pretty happy with it. I do have to remind myself to take smaller bites. I don't know why I think I'm in such a hurry to eat. When I take a large bite, it's harder to keep my lips closed. And of course, I was taught not to show my food when I chew. The bread's working for me pretty good. I am trying to kind of cut with my bottom teeth, not my top. Now I'm getting down to the bottom. And the force of trying to bite is pushing the food. And this isn't a slab of meat, it's like a formed patty. I've had most of my French fries, maybe a couple more. Down to the last little bite. I ended up with a little bit of barbecue sauce. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. So it was a little messy, but not too bad. Didn't get it on my shirt, so I'm going to call that one a win. I'm going to say My dentures were able to handle the McRib sandwich. The soft bread is stuck a little bit. I can kind of feel some with my tongue. The hardest thing about eating the fries is they really only taste delicious when they're freshly hot. As they cool down, they get less desirable. So that's my first McRib sandwich in at least 10 years, whenever they had them last time and a time before that. Tasted pretty good, but I may go a few years before I have another one. So I'm going to say in the case of Dentures versus McRib, Dentures won. Thank you for joining me for my McLunch. I hope this helps with learning to eat with your dentures. A year ago, I didn't know if I'd ever be able to eat with my dentures. But it just like everything else, a little time and a little practice and it gets better. I hope your denture journey is going well, and I hope we have a meal together again soon.